Welcome back. In the last video, we talked about the nature of God and of our reality, and discussed the hidden secret at the core of magic and religious traditions that really you and I and everyone else is God. And if you haven't watched that video yet, definitely go back and watch that one, because that lays the groundwork for a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today. But in that video, I asked the question that if that really is the case, if we are God and we have the power to influence our reality and live the lives of our dreams, then why is the world in the sorry shape that it's in? And there are several reasons for that, but for the most part, it all comes down to the fact that no one is born knowing that they have this power. And that is kind of essential, really, for us to be able to have the opportunity to expand and learn and come to realize our power. Because, like I was talking about with the nature of challenge and God being bored and wanting to have a variety of experiences and get to experience excitement and all of these emotions again, that challenge is kind of a necessary part of it. So if we all knew, it would negate some of that. But therefore, because we aren't born knowing that, then people will latch on to all of these ideas and beliefs and give power to them, give their own power to these beliefs that therefore influence their lives and the lives of other people around them and make them sick and miserable and depressed. Looking back at the story of the Bible, specifically the Garden of Eden, we can see an allegory for this with the serpent offering Eve the fruit. When Satan, the serpent, said that if Eve ate the fruit, she would be like God, what exactly does that mean, though, if we already are God? Well, if we are God, then being made like God would actually just be a downgrade, right? It would be decreasing or taking something away from what you already are. And so what this story is really an allegory that's trying to teach us something about our divine nature. In essence, if we chase the fruit or whatever shiny objects that we think are going to empower us and give us further abilities or make us something more than we already are, all we're really doing is taking the innate power within us and projecting it onto something else, and therefore giving that object or that circumstance or that desire power over us, which is not what we want. Put another way, do you need that fancy new sports car that you've been eyeing to be happy? Or is it possible for you to feel happiness without it? Do you need to be making millions of dollars a year to be able to feel successful? Or is that need actually holding you back from being successful? Because if in your mind you're not successful unless you're making millions of dollars a year, well, you've got to start from somewhere. But if you're not there already, then inevitably that means that you are not successful. And if you aren't successful, then how could you ever succeed enough to be able to get to the point where you will let yourself believe that you're successful? You're holding yourself back by your beliefs. And there are so many different problems that are caused by us just not being aware of this ability that we have. We're not believing in it, not choosing to believe in it. So let's say the bills are due and you don't have the innate knowledge that you can cover them, that you can achieve anything. And so you're stressing about it, you're worrying about it, you're despairing. That leads you to self-sabotage, to not taking the actions that you would need to actually be able to cover the bills. It's not because you couldn't, but it's because you didn't believe in yourself. You didn't have faith that you could, and that belief is then proven right. Or what about sickness? Does the flu truly hold any power over you? Is it normal for you to get sick several times a year? Or did you just grow up with parents who believed that it was normal to get sick several times a year, and you're just perpetuating that belief, perpetuating that cycle? And that's not to say that illness isn't real. Of course it's real. But the point is that you can use your belief to determine whether or not it will have power over you. So let me give you a real-world example to back that up. For all of my life, I've gotten sick something like every 2 to 3 months, like clockwork. Not just during flu season, but all year long, every couple of months, I would get sick. That was normal for me. And I could always tell when I was about to get sick by this feeling that I would have in the back of my throat. And I would always get this feeling in the back of my throat, kind of like a hybrid between a tickle and a swollen throat, that when I felt, I would know, uh-oh, I'm getting sick. And inevitably, I would wake up in the morning and be so sick that I could barely get out of bed. That was normal for me. But about 6 months ago, I decided to break that cycle. So when I felt that feeling in my throat, instead of latching onto it and saying, oh, I guess I'm getting sick, I pretty much just ignored it. I said, oh, it's probably just allergies, or I haven't been drinking enough water today. And I just made sure to wash my hands extra and drink extra water, get extra sleep, all the stuff that you should do if you're getting sick. But I didn't latch on to the belief. And ever since then, I have not gotten sick. I haven't had a cold, I haven't had the flu, I haven't had anything for 6 months. When normally, in that period of time, I probably would have been sick 2 or 3 times for at least several days at a time. And I've always been a very clean person. I always wash my hands and keep my stuff clean and don't touch random things out in public. But I would still get sick, even when I lived alone. Now I have kids and I'm exposed to an entire elementary school. It's the middle of flu season right now, and yet I still haven't gotten sick. And the only thing that has changed is my belief. I haven't really been cleaning or avoiding sickness any more than I did before, but now my belief is in line with my actions, and therefore I am getting results. Does that make sense? So how do these powers work? How can you do what I've been able to do here with sickness? Well, every person is going to tell you a different answer. Everyone has their own unique ideas about this, and I'm no authority in the matter either, so take what I say with a grain of salt. It's just my ideas. But I like to try to look at things through a scientific lens wherever I can. And so the first thing I want to do to break this down is talk to you about the nature of time. You've probably heard the expression that time is a construct. Time is something that we created so that we could invite our friends over and have everybody show up at the same time. But beyond that, it's a fiction, it's an illusion. The present moment is the only thing that you or I will ever experience. The past is your memories of a previous now, and the future is your hopes and imaginations of a now that has not yet come to pass. But we will always forever be existing in now. There's nothing else outside of that that we can access. And string theory indicates that time doesn't flow at all the way that we think it does, the way that we perceive it to. Time is actually the fourth dimension. It is a physical space somewhere out in the cosmos that the third dimension essentially just passes through. And third dimensional things like our bodies cannot freely move through time. We are locked into moving through it in a predetermined way. And we've been trained to identify so hard with our bodies that we think we are our bodies. But our consciousness is not bound to the same limitations as our 3D bodies. Now I'm going to break out the whiteboard to illustrate this point here. So bear with me. I'm not the best at digital drawing. But if you take a sphere, a 3D object, and shine a light on it, the shadow that that sphere is going to project will be a flat disk. It will be 2D. So the shadow of 3D is 2D. And then if you take that 2D disk and turn it on its side and shine a light on it, that shadow that it will cast is simply a line. So now the shadow of 2D is 1D, right? And the way that it works, essentially, there's also the 0th dimension, which is a point. It's not really a dimension at all. But just for the sake of discussion, it's easiest to break it down from here. So let me clear this. And now you have the single point. It's no dimension, no space, no movement, no potential, nothing whatsoever. Just a single point. But if you expand that point out and put an infinite number of points in a single direction, what you end up with is a line. So every single one of those points fits infinitely anywhere on this line, and that line is the first dimension. Now, if you stack lines on top of each other, an infinite number of lines, well, now what you get is two directions. You get a two-dimensional plane. So see, the point is a slice of the first dimension. The line is a slice of the second dimension. Now, if you take 2D planes and stack them on top of each other over and over and over again, what you'll get is a three-dimensional cube, or just 3D space itself. So every one of these 2D planes is a slice of the 3D. Now, this also works with 3D and with every dimension ascending upwards. Science says that there are at least 10, or maybe it's 12, I can't remember which, but there are either 10 or 12 dimensions in our reality. And so with the third dimension, again, if each one of these 3D spaces is just a singular slice and can fit an infinite number of times within the fourth dimension, and it goes on and on and on forever, that is what the fourth dimension is. That is what time is every single 3D reality is a slice, an infinitely small point of the fourth dimension that is time. So time is our reality stretched out at every single conceivable moment from the beginning to the end. And like I said, it's not something that we can travel with our bodies, at least not yet. Maybe science will figure something out. Maybe it already has, who knows. But that's the point behind it. Time is the 3D realm stretched out. Our 3D realm is one singular point, so make infinite 3D realms, and that is time. Now, you take the fourth dimension of time, and I don't even know how to draw this out to explain it, honestly, but if time itself is just a singular slice of the fifth dimension, then what the fifth dimension is every single conceivable timeline, every possibility of every event ever. That is the idea of string theory, of parallel universes, multiple realities, that there is this existence that is out there somewhere, that everything that has ever happened, will ever happen, or could ever happen is actually already there, somewhere out in physical space, somewhere out in reality. We just can't access it or perceive it. And I really can't even wrap my head around the possibility of the sixth dimension or anything higher than that. So if you're smarter than me, if you know like how to explain that, please drop that in the comments. I'm very curious to know more about it. But anyway, there are an infinite number of realities, an infinite number of timelines, an infinite number of yourself that your consciousness, which is itself God and is not constrained to 3D or even 4D reality, has the ability to hop between all of these timelines and possibilities. Everything that you could possibly imagine is already out there, just waiting for you to tap into it. That is the concept that is commonly referred to as manifestation or reality creation. And there are a lot of ideas built around that. There are a lot of misconceptions around that. You know, everyone sort of has their own idea of it, and you'll see a lot of people preaching manifestation on YouTube. Something that I think is important to remember is that manifestation itself is a business, and the success of their business is kind of hinged on you not getting the results that you want to see, because they want you to keep coming back. You know, if you get everything that you want and you learn all of the secrets, then there's not really anything in it for them. You know, they might be able to get your viewership for a little while, but then you have no reason to go back. And so definitely be careful of people who are trying to sell manifestation to you. I do think that there are a lot of good sources and information on the internet, on YouTube, and just social media in general. There are genuine people out there who are just trying to share that information, and that's what I'm trying to do too. I'm really just trying to put the things that I have learned out there so that as many people as possible can benefit from them. So it is my sincerest hope that you, the viewer, learn something from this and that it impacts your life and that you never need to watch my videos again. Because if you already have everything that you want, you don't need to search for anything outside of yourself. I'm trying to put myself out of a job, but I think that that is a good thing. So how do we manifest, or reality hop, or quantum jump, or whatever you want to call it? Well, I did hint at it earlier. It does have to do with a combination of belief and action, but it's not quite as simple as that. There's a little bit more to it. Really, it comes down to your personal identity. Now, it's a very common belief in magic and mysticism that the universe is actually the individual pushed out. Everyone who's ever studied magic, one of the first axioms that they'll ever encounter is the saying, as above, so below. As within, so without. And that's saying that the human, the individual, is a microcosm of the macrocosm that is the universe around us. It's all connected, it's all one and the same, and the laws that apply to the human apply to the universe and vice versa. So your identity, what you believe to be true, what you believe to be normal, will be pushed out. It will reflect into the outer world, and that will therefore reinforce the beliefs that you already have. And all of us were born with beliefs that were given to us by our parents. Or maybe not born with them, but we were shaped by our parents, and they gave us the beliefs that they had. So there are many, many limiting beliefs and just factors that influence us and take away some of that power from us. But before the outer world can change, we have to change what's on the inside first. It doesn't work the other way around. You can't change the outer world and expect the inner world to change. You have to change the inside first, and then the outer world will reflect it back to you. It's like a mirror. So if identity is so important, let's take a closer look at it for a second. Let me break the whiteboard back out again. And what identity really is 5 different elements that are all working in conjunction with each other. So we have belief, and our beliefs influence our emotions. Our emotions influence our thoughts. Our thoughts influence our actions, and our actions determine what results we get. And then the results that we get will either reinforce or contradict our beliefs and then help shape our new beliefs. And that is just a cycle that continues again and again and again. And so you can change this process of your identity. You can reform yourself through any one of these methods. Well, maybe not results, but you can change the emotions that you engage with, and that will change your thoughts, and that will change your actions, and so on. You can change your actions, and that will change your results, and that will influence your beliefs. But the core of it all really is belief. And unfortunately, that is the most difficult thing to access and to change because it's locked behind our subconscious. But that is the most surefire way to get results, is to change your internal subconscious beliefs, the things that you take for granted. So how do we change our beliefs? How do we create a new belief and actually accept it? Well, belief is stored in your subconscious, which is notoriously tricky to access and change because the conscious mind actually doesn't have much power over the subconscious. It's actually the other way around. The subconscious mind holds a lot of power over our conscious mind and influences us all the time in ways that we don't even realize. And that's part of the trick. That's part of what holds us back, is all of these beliefs that are stored within us that we're not even aware of, but are being reflected back to us because we believe them somewhere within ourselves. But even though your conscious mind doesn't hold much power over the subconscious mind, your will does hold power over it. And with a lot of repetition and time and effort, we can train the subconscious to think and behave and accept the beliefs that we want it to. The subconscious is a lot like an unbroken horse. It's never been trained, and so it doesn't have a relationship of trust built with you. But it's been there for every mistake and every bad decision and every dumb thing that you've ever done. It's seen all of these things, and so it's saying, look at this guy's life. Look at how much of a screw up he is. I'm not going to trust him and give him even more power so that he can screw up even worse than he already has, right? So that relationship of trust has to be established first. You have to show to your subconscious that what you consciously believe and choose, you're able to maintain and hold on to those beliefs and those choices long enough for the subconscious to also be able to accept it. If you can do it for long enough, if you can hold on to it for long enough, it is only a matter of time that the subconscious will accept it. But that really is the struggle. It just takes time and effort to do it. So what's the best method to train your subconscious? Well, turns out, we've been talking about belief. So the best method to train your subconscious is whatever you already believe will be the best method to train your subconscious. So for me, I've been using affirmations. I recorded my voice, making statements that I want to believe, and I've been listening to them while I fall asleep and throughout the day. And that has been working for me because I was already inclined to believe that it would work for me. But that's where you will need to go and figure it out for yourself. Do you believe in prayer? Do you believe in affirmation? Do you believe in meditation? Do you believe in ritual magic? Do you believe in sigils or tarot cards or spells? Whatever it is that you believe is going to be the most effective is going to be the most effective for you. And the opposite is true as well. If you think that affirmations are stupid, if it makes you feel like an idiot hearing your voice over and over again or looking in the mirror repeating the same thing, then I can guarantee you it's not going to work because you don't believe that it will work for you. It's as simple as that. So just figure out what you already think the best course of action will be and do it. And if you don't have any kind of opinions or preconceived notions on what the best action would be, then just pick something that you like. Look at different methods, take the list that I said, and just give it a try. And try your hardest to believe that it will work for you, and do it for a while. Do it for a few weeks or a month or whatever, and journal, write down your findings, and see if you get results from it. So now we know the core of how it works and the internal work that needs to be done in order to analyze your beliefs and start to overcome some of these internal negative beliefs. But how do you actually live the life of your dreams in the here and now? Well, first, figure out the life that you want to live. Picture it in as much detail as you possibly can. Engage your senses. You want to hear, touch, taste, smell. As realistic as you can make it, or the more realistic you can make it, the better. What would an average day in your dream life look like? What would it feel like? How would living that dream life make you feel internally on a day-to-day basis? How would you feel if you achieved everything that you wanted? Now that you understand that you understand how you would feel if you had it, you have to essentially trick yourself into feeling that way without having it, without having the external validation for you having that emotion. If you can hang on to the excitement and the joy and the satisfaction and all of these good things that you would feel if you had everything that you wanted, you just have to hold on to that, and eventually, in time, those things will also reflect into the outer world and come back to you. That's how it all works. But now look back at the identity chart here. Is your identity in line with the identity of the person that you want to be? Are you engaging with emotions or thoughts or actions that the person you want to be would never feel? See, a perfectly satisfied person who's living the life of their dreams, they don't need addictions and vices to distract them from their boredom or to distract them from how terrible and miserable their life is, because they're just too busy enjoying their lives and having fun. So you need to make sure that all 5 of those elements are in line with the way that you want to live your dream life. It's not enough to just think it or imagine it. You really have to embody it. And that is hard. It takes work, it takes time, but you absolutely have the ability to do that. And I also just wanted to say, even if everything that I have said up to now is complete bullshit, if it's all fake, manifestation isn't real, none of it matters, it's all fictitious. If that is the case, still, would believing that you are happy and believing that you are capable and believing that you are powerful make your life better, or would it make your life worse? Right? Even if it's all fake, everything that I'm telling you here would still improve your life. Even if it's all just delusion, it would still make you happier. It would still make you more capable, and it would probably still get you the results that you wanted, even if there is no truth or grounding in anything that I've said. That is the power behind this information. And of course, this work is hard, and there are a lot of different techniques that can be used to help you better know yourself, to better know what you want, to be able to identify your beliefs and unlock some of these subconscious things. And one of my favorite methods for that is meditation. And there are a lot of different ideas around meditation, lots of different methods. And so in the next episode, I'm going to get into that and talk about meditation. Because when it really comes down to it, we need to be able to maintain an internal state that is delusional to the external world, that doesn't care what life is throwing at us. We need to be able to feel like we are rich, feel like we are powerful, feel like we are joyful, no matter what is happening around us. And one of the goals of meditation is to be able to sit in a quiet, peaceful space and clear our minds and be able to hold on to those internal feelings. And that's a great practice. And then once you're experienced with that, the idea is you can then go out into the world and hold on to that same internal state no matter what is going on around you. It's training. And so next episode, we're going to talk more about that. But thank you for sticking around for this video. I'm really excited to share these things with you. I truly hope that this benefits someone. It's been a pleasure just to be able to learn these things and to get to experience them firsthand. It's so exciting and so empowering just to be able to create this and be able to have people out there who are watching and who find it interesting. So if that's you, please drop a comment. I'm not going to ask for subscribers or likes. I'll never ask for that. But if you got value from this, drop a comment. Tell me what you've been doing. Tell me what you've been learning. Share any insights that you have. I appreciate all of it. So thank you for watching. Have a good night.